Chronicles.
Definitely an antisocial type.
Guess what? I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Here you go, more negative waves. Have a little faith, baby. Have a little faith.
You wanted law and order in this town. You've got it.
Only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger.
Listen, hotshot, I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Wolverines!
We got a loudspeaker here, and when we go into battle, we play music very loud. It kind of calms us down.
Hi, perhaps you recognize me. It's your favorite president.
Why don't you say something righteous and hopeful for a change?
In the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Freedom Chronicles. My name is Mike Imbasciani. Today is Wednesday, December 29th, the very last show here of 2021. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being a part of this journey thus far. You're here watching this on newtakes.tv, and we've got some fun, exciting things coming in the future and some fun, exciting things today in this episode. Of course, as always, co-hosting with me is Mr. Ken Lovejoy, and I'm very happy to announce today's guest, very special guest in studio today, brother to General Michael Flynn. It is Joseph Flynn. How are you, sir?
I'm great. It's great to be here with you guys.
Excellent. Thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it.
It wasn't that far of a drive either. It was great.
There you go. We're here in the bunker undisclosed location, having some fun.
That's
How
great.
are you, Ken?
Good. We
Very
have
good.
our do you have your we got everything ready? So our active shooter
Yes,
shooter
our active
defense.
shooter defense. We're
Right
ready.
here.
We've
Okay,
got
so we
we've got
got
our security
Okay,
Indians
ready
and
to
the
go.
Yankees
Okay,
ready to
good.
take
Good,
care of
good,
everything,
good.
so.
So we'll protect you, Joe.
Good.
So everybody knows your brother, General Michael Flynn, worked a record-breaking 22 days as a national security advisor
What an
under
impact.
President Trump. Quite an impact. But not many people know about you. You've been very active politically here, and so why don't you tell us about yourself and what you've got going on and what you've been doing in the past.
So I am General Flynn's youngest brother. There's 9 siblings in our family. Michael is the middle child. I'm the last one. We grew up in Newport, Rhode Island, in a house with 9 kids and about 1,200 square feet.
So
we grew
you got
up,
along then.
We grew up. A lot of people know Newport for the mansions. We were the people that worked in the mansions.
Oh.
We came from that community. Newport has a big Irish Catholic community, and we grew up in that world. I was lucky. I did not go into the military like 3 of my brothers did. As I mentioned earlier, I have a brother, Charlie, who's a 4-star general, still active duty.
The other General Flynn.
The other General
God
Flynn.
bless him.
Yeah, they both went to the University of Rhode Island, ROTC, and they made it, way up in the food chain. It's hardworking, dedicated guys. But I went a different route. I actually was in a band I was mentioning to you, Mike. I was in a traveling band for a long time. I went to school in Washington, D.C. at Catholic University, graduated there in 1987. And after the band broke up, I went and got a real job, unfortunately, which I hope you never have to do.
I know. I'm working on it. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to stay busy.
I got into when I grew up, I learned how to speak French and Spanish, and I spent some time after the band, after I graduated, I went over to Europe and I lived in Madrid for 2.5 years.
Wow.
When I came back, I got a job in the international trade show business. So I was organizing very big technology trade shows all around the world.
Wow.
Particularly in Latin America. I lived in Mexico City. I lived in Buenos Aires, lived in Sao Paulo, married a girl from Puerto Rico who I'm still married to.
I loved Puerto Rico.
Yeah, married. Cool. And I had 2 beautiful kids. And then when I got to be about 35 or so, I got sick of working for other people, and I started a company with a partner of mine, which we took public. We kept that for about 18 years or so. We took it public. We merged it with another company, and then I left that and started a second company. This was all in California. I spent the last 20 years or so in California, all in healthcare technology services. Started another company in 2018, sold it, moved to this beautiful free state of Florida.
Yes.
That
deserves a round of applause by itself. Everybody ends up in Florida eventually, and everybody needs to do it sooner rather than later.
Well, I think the amount of houses going up right now, I would say.
But if you're liberal, leave your politics at home,
yes.
please.
Exactly. There's a reason why you want to leave California, New York, and everywhere else.
Yeah. So we came here. We love it. We now have 5 siblings living down here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really great. And one brother came first, and then we kind of all followed. And it's like every refugee family. So
you're not all in the same house, though, right?
So no. We were at one point. No. But I got involved politically. Believe it or not, our family, a lot of people know this. We were Democrats most of our lives.
Really?
Yep. I was a Democrat. I really switched parties about 10 years ago. The Obama kind of regime, especially the second term, really, it was a kind of an awakening for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Catholic, I'm pro-life. And so I was always kind of a conservative Democrat. We were always pro-military, pro-life.
Right.
But the Democratic Party, as it did with many people, it left
them.
The people.
Yeah.
It didn't really leave.
Right.
We didn't leave the party because, to be honest with you, if you think about Trump didn't really get elected by Republicans in 2016. He was
tons of union
primarily elected by disaffected Democrats.
Yeah. Labor unions.
Labor unions in the
Plus, he got a huge Black and Hispanic support as well.
He did, and I think we can talk about that. There's a shift going on there. But obviously, when my brother decided to get involved with the Trump campaign, because he was doing a lot of consulting with others prior to joining the campaign full time. He was consulting for Ted Cruz. He was consulting for Carly Fiorina and others. But he really hit it off. Him and Trump just hit it off. They just became really good friends. And the campaign solidified that. And Mike traveled very closely with Trump.
Yeah.
During that, in fact, was a vice presidential candidate. They were talking about him for being VP.
Interesting.
He tells me an interesting story about Trump when Trump talked to him about being VP.
Yeah.
Because Trump, he'll throw curveballs at people. He goes,
oh yeah.
He goes, what we ought to do, Mike? We ought to run as Democrats. We ought to leave the Republican, because the Republican Party was giving him so much trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember going into the convention, they almost tried to take him down in the convention.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And so anyway,
how many of them were there on stage? There was 16 of them on stage,
and he blew them all away.
Yeah.
Little Marco.
but they were giving him a hard time right up until the convention.
Yeah.
And so that's an interesting anecdote. But I knew that there was something wrong around September or so. That I had a feeling that these guys were going to go after, particularly my brother, but the entire Trump administration. And what really solidified it for me was when Trump actually won.
Yeah.
In the first meeting he has with Obama, he says there's 2 dangerous people in the world, Kim Jong-un and Michael Flynn. And I said, oh, shucks.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
And that's when I knew. That's when I knew
That's it.
That's when I knew that the long knives were going to be out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't long after that.
It wasn't.
Clip that, Ben. We need that.
22
Oh,
days.
shucks. Yeah. Oh, shucks. It's a soundbite.
And so I got involved politically because when that was happening, and the legal bills were piling up for General Flynn.
Yeah.
My sister and I went to him and said, this is he kind of thought this is going to be over quickly, and then
initially you did because
he was talking to the Russian ambassador like every incoming national security advisor did.
But that's what the left has done with several things. They do it, and it's perfectly legal for a president to do, but then they tried to make it out to be something that was completely illegal.
Well, and if they had already had the contacts because they're already in the government, then it's not as big of a deal either. It shouldn't be anyway, those kind of conversations.
It was the first time in modern history that they went after, and it actually changed the course of history.
Yeah.
Okay, because my brother had a lot of plans to really upend, particularly the intelligence community, which he came out of. And the intelligence community is,
the fourth branch of government.
Really the fourth branch of government. And everybody knows that it's been corrupted, particularly Obama and Brennan did a real number on the intelligence community.
And the military as a whole.
And the military as a whole got rid of a lot of senior flag officers that were, conservative or, pro-American, however you want to call it. I mean, they really
replaced him with a bunch of Marxist political
They
desk
did.
butts.
And people to toe the line that they wanted, not separate enough to put their foot down and say, no, we're not going to.
So national security advisor with a guy with the profile like General Flynn would have been a game changer.
Yep.
Would have been a history changer.
Yep.
They knew it. That's why the media, in collusion with the Democratic machine, went after General Flynn. And not only did they try to just get him out of being national security advisor, they tried to bury him under the ground, put him in prison for a long time.
Yeah.
And so we created the Mike Flynn Legal Defense Fund just after the Mueller investigation was announced. And quite honestly, we didn't know how it was going to go. Luckily, we had a lot of support from some key media figures on the right, Rush in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Always thank Rush and his family for their help. Mark Levin was great. Sean Hannity was really good to us. Dan Bongino. They were always. So I was the spokesperson, and I would go on their shows and I would say, how's your brother doing? Because at the time, General Flynn was, gagged.
Right.
He's not gagged now.
Yes.
You can't get him to stop talking. But so I got really involved at that point. And then when the elections were stolen in November of 2020, that's when we really got really involved in a lot of activity to try and expose that fraud, but also to try and motivate people to really get active locally, to really
and that's what I really like to talk about, because you now have a platform and that you can reach out to these people, and people want to know what they can do, because the federal government is so corrupt right now. One person or your group of people in your small town, it's very hard to do something. But if you start on the local level enough and build up to it, that's how you get real change done. We've talked about on the show working with the school board and
starting to see it too. A lot of people are finally starting to get involved with the local school boards, run for it. But again, like he was saying, just get involved locally with your local Republican Party, with the REC, the RNC, the state.
And if you don't like how your local Republican Party is run, because maybe there's some curmudgeons and they're not doing anything, that's why you need to get involved and figure out how to
get
change
a bunch
it.
of people to get involved, and then you go in, you become voting members, and you take over the committee.
So we need exactly where you're going with the Republican Party. As a lifelong non-Republican, okay, who's a new Republican,
right?
Let's say an America First Republican, because I really was attracted to almost 95% of Trump's policies. I was super attracted to, and that's what really sold it for me.
You're a classic Democrat.
I'm a classic Democrat, because if you look at John F. Kennedy's platform, you look at Donald Trump's platform, it's almost exactly the same. Yeah. So your point on getting involved locally. One of the things that we did post-election trauma, I like to say, is we created an organization called the America Project, which I'm on the board of, in partnership with Patrick Byrne. A lot of people know Patrick Byrne. He's the founder and CEO or he was the CEO of Overstock.com. He's been a libertarian his whole life. In fact, never voted for Trump, but really was involved with us in the whole post-election work we did to try and, convince President Trump that he really should have taken more executive action prior to giving up office. But he had his reasons for not doing that. But it was important that we didn't stop. And after January 6th in particular, a lot of people went into hiding. They kind of freaked out.
Yeah.
They couldn't believe what happened. And, we didn't do that. We said, you know what? January 6th happened. It is what it is. It was unfortunate. We got to get this country back on track, because these people these people did a color revolution on us. This was a coup. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And what we decided and what we said was, we're going to create the America Project as let's say a network of networks, because there's a lot of grassroots organizations, local grassroots organizations across this country that are underfunded, especially on the conservative side, pro-America side, underfunded. They don't know people around the country that they could get connected. We said, we're going to create an organization that connects all these different grassroots organizations, that raises money for them through a fund, through a 501c4, which can be activist in its activity. So
that's smart, because you have the single people like Scott Pressler, who originally was going out and cleaning up the cities, and then he turned into, you know, teaching people how to be poll watchers, and now teaching people how to register to vote and get involved in their communities, and even helping certain people learn how to run for office, because you can't just do it.
You do it.
Well, the left does it very well. I mean, our model is based on George Soros's Annabelle model. Okay, which, if you look at the amount of the network organizations that George Soros funds, it's vast. It's a vast network of left-wing organizations that are involved in a lot of local activities. Like, how do you get Marxists on school boards? Well, you support a local school board
or district attorney.
And it's
the district attorneys that have been causing the biggest problems.
And attorney general.
And this is where Soros concentrated for the last 20 years while we were fast asleep.
That's the progressivism mentality.
Exactly.
And guess what? They're all in line with each other. They don't fall out of line.
Yeah, that's been the problem with the Republican Party. They won't stick together.
Even the Patriot movement, even the the America First movement doesn't stick together. It's a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, because of I gotta say, some of the wacky personalities that are involved in this, and they're not serious people. It's really a disaster.
I have to agree. You tend to see people who are more out for themselves than they are for the party or the nation
or the country.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of that, and you don't see that so much on the left. I mean,
no, everybody's in lockstep. Yeah, and then when somebody gets out of the lockstep, then they all get attacked by the rest of the left.
Exactly. They fall in line with each other. So,
like Joe Manchin.
Well,
God
bless Joe Manchin. I mean, Joe Manchin is the most powerful man in America when you think about it.
Yeah,
he could have taken us down. I hope he has good security. I pray for Joe Manchin, because we're one Joe Manchin away from HR1 being shoved down our throats, and this country's
that's
over.
all it takes.
Well, when you see what happened to Harry Reid and you look at the age of a lot of these Democrats, hey, time waits for no one.
Exactly.
So we created the America Project. We immediately focused most of our efforts on election integrity. We funded the Maricopa County audit, which of course was not perfect, but did expose a massive amount of fraud.
Yeah.
And it remains to be seen.
Is.
Well, and so let me ask you with that. And all of this gets exposed. We all know it. Everybody knows it. Things get exposed. And
what happens?
From what you've seen and the people that you know and what you're hearing, what is being done about it?
Okay, so I can say that at the very least, let's say nobody gets indicted or anything like that.
Right.
At the very least, things like the Maricopa County audit and other audits and other activities that are ongoing, other legal cases that we are actively involved with, it has awakened a sleeping giant of people. Okay. The very least, people are talking about it.
Right.
I think I saw a statistic recently. We know that 85% of Republicans don't believe that the election was stolen. Now I'm seeing as many as 40% or 35% of Democrats are saying the election was stolen. So everybody is now hyper focused on election integrity.
Right.
Okay. So that's the least
hyper focusing and getting something done.
Well, yeah, those are the two different problems. And you could even say the same thing about Florida. Like I've said, they need to audit Florida, because we all know Trump won Florida, but it should have been by a lot more than it was.
We funded the canvassing done by Defend Florida. Carolyn Weatherington, who's a wonderful lady.
She is
just a firecracker of a woman. She's amazing. And that canvassing demonstrated that probably 20% of the vote in Florida was fraudulent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so if Florida, and I think DeSantis did some things after he got elected to clean up, certainly Dade and Broward.
Which Mason Weaver, who we interviewed last week, said he feels like part of his mission being here in Florida is going and helping Broward County so that he can flip that more conservative.
Yeah. I'd love to see DeSantis, do a little bit more here. I think do an audit,
like getting rid of Dominion voting,
and getting rid of Dominion would go, and no mail-in ballots, have restricted mail-in ballots, all that kind of stuff. We know that. So we got involved with that. What we could see in Maricopa County, we could see indictments. We are hearing that the Attorney General is doing a criminal investigation. His political future, because he's a very ambitious guy, is 100% dependent on him doing something. So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him, and he's running for office again. So
And have you seen efforts and heard any efforts about overturning the election results at all anywhere?
I think that's a harder thing. I mean, I certainly am seeing efforts. There's a number of cases. Mike Lindell has a case. People laugh at it. But the last conversation we had with Mike, he's got 5 attorneys general that are going to join that lawsuit.
Good.
And there's another, believe it or not, there's a really good lawsuit being done by a minority group of Latinos for America First. A great friend of mine, Bianca Gracia. She's out of Houston.
Fantastic.
She's going to be running for office for the Texas Senate. She's another firecracker, fantastic patriot. They've got a lawsuit at the Supreme Court that has not been dismissed. It's been there since August. And it's based on, you might remember this, Michael might be a little too young, but in the 2000 election, after the 2000 election, something called the HAVA Act.
Yes.
Help America Vote Act.
Yes.
That was instituted after the Gore versus Bush.
The hanging Chad.
The hanging Chad thing to protect minority voters. Now, it's been instituted. Leftists have used it to institute and to, go after local elections. So this Latina woman teamed up with a Native American woman down in Texas, and they put a lawsuit in front of Alito's court, and it's still there more than 120 days. Usually after 90 days, they dismiss it. They're still there. If there's going to be something that overturns an election, it's something like that because they can't ignore minority voters like that.
Right.
So Roberts will if he has to.
Well, but remember, in this case, since they put it in their case, I think Alito handles Texas.
Okay.
Because you know how the Supreme Court is divided up into 7 sections.
Mm-hmm.
He can issue a TRO, temporary restraining order, without the vote of the entire Supreme Court. I learned that when I met with them in Dallas. I met with these guys in Dallas a couple of weeks ago at one of Clay Clark's events, and they walked through the whole case to me and General Flynn, and we told them we'll give you all the resources we can. So we've already, been trying to find, because if this thing goes and something happens, then they're going to need, legal firepower, especially that's based in DC.
Indeed.
Right.
So we've been trying to hook them up with that. So this is the kind of things we've been involved in. Getting back to why it's important. I want to talk about Virginia because we were very involved in an off-year election.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Nobody pays attention to anything.
Right. And that election became huge.
Okay. It became huge. What were the major issues? Critical race theory, school boards, all that. We had a group come to us called Virginians for America First and say, we got a plan to win this election. Nobody knew who the heck Glenn Youngkin was. Okay. Some private equity guy.
Yeah, we still don't really.
$1 billion. We didn't.
Did the people in Virginia know?
We didn't support him. We supported another candidate by the name of Amanda Chase, who's much more America First. Youngkin's more of I don't want to call him a rhino. It's too early to say that, but he's more of a traditional Republican.
So a rhino.
I guess so.
Still better than the Democrats.
He's never held office, so we haven't seen him vote on. He's
right.
He hasn't instituted any policies. So I've given him.
That's true.
And I love his lieutenant governor, Winsome C.
Yeah.
Yes, she is fantastic.
She is fantastic.
So why is this important? We had a group come to us led by a black pastor in Virginia who I was on the phone with him on the way down. He's a very good friend of mine. He's running for Congress in Richmond County. And another guy who's an old Tea Party hand. And they had a plan to educate voters, to educate precinct volunteers, to educate poll watchers in all the counties in Virginia, which they did fabulously well.
Excellent.
Go get the voter rolls and go after people who haven't voted. Concentrate the door knocking. 66,000 doors of Republicans who haven't voted in 2 or 3 elections.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? You're going to complain about
exactly
them in power, and you're not going to vote.
Okay, and Leon, Pastor Leon Benjamin, God bless him, went to 300 churches in a period of 4 months. Black churches.
Wow. What
was the result? In the case of the black vote, it was a historical turnout of black voters for a Republican candidate. The percentage was something like 50%.
Yeah,
excellent.
It was the most in anything, and I credit that to Leon. And then the turnout won Virginia. I mean, I don't think they expected to win Virginia because Virginia has been turning blue for a long time.
Yeah, but McAuliffe. I mean, Virginians already got a taste of what he's like.
It was a weak candidate.
The guy, oh my God,
and
horrible. And that they had the audacity to call him the architect of the modern progressive movement. I'm like, really? This is who we're up against?
No, I know. He was a senior when I went to my university, Catholic University. Terry McAuliffe was a senior when I was a freshman.
Yeah,
and he was all over. He was a political hack then. He was terrible. So anyway, this is the kind of activity.
Yeah, it's getting involved.
Yes.
And one of the things you said before the show that we can mention, talking about doing these. Do more events in your own states. You don't have to go to DC.
No.
I think, talking about what happened on January 6th, and you see these big rallies that are happening, supposedly grassroots, and you find out there are all these undercover FBI agents. I'm not saying the whole thing is a sham, but it's pretty much there.
Yeah.
But more people need to not go to DC necessarily, but go to your own state capitals, like
Absolutely.
you were saying.
Go to your state capitals, go to your large cities.
Or we could have a Southwest Florida rally.
Yeah.
Down in Naples. Down in Naples or wherever. Or in Sarasota. We don't need to go to DC because look what happens to conservatives when they get arrested in DC.
Yeah.
They get thrown in prison.
Political prisoners get treated worse than people in Gitmo.
I can't believe those guys are still there like that.
My brother went through it with Emmett Sullivan in the courthouse in DC. It was a disaster. Emmett Sullivan.
That he's still on the bench
after they dropped the charges.
Yeah,
the FBI and the DOJ drops the charges, and Emmett Sullivan was going to let that thing go all the way through the election, all the way through the inauguration of Biden. Nobody wins in Washington, D.C. who's conservative in a court, in a jury. It's never going to happen.
And that's what's making Republicans say, well, maybe I should just censor myself a little more and back away when we need to move forward and get louder locally.
You know what? And second thing, we need to transform the Republican Party. We need to transform the Republican Party. I see it here in Florida. The old guard in Florida, here in just this wonderful place that we now call home, is a major problem for the country. If the Republican Party thinks this is business as usual, politics as usual,
they keep treating it
when Florida is really right now the freest state in the country, and everybody's looking to Florida to lead a little more, I think.
Yeah,
so it's important that we as Floridians in Florida cannot fall to.
Well, I hope we see it locally, but locally our party has been, the retired middle managers from the 70s, regaling stories of the great 80s during Reagan, and those days are over. We got a battle that we need to be fighting, and they need to get involved rather than just going along to get along.
So it's great. So we're supporting people like Martin Hyde up in Sarasota. Martin Hyde is a ball buster. He's at the school board meetings, pounding his fist on the table. He's an immigrant. He's from England. Wow. So he's got a really caustic British style.
Ken, didn't you send me that video?
Why?
Yes,
because
he was fantastic.
I love him. Yeah,
yes. Because Vern Buchanan has been in Washington since what, early 90s or something like that?
Yeah, Vern has...
He's a nice guy. But,
yeah, sure.
But come on. Why does Vern Buchanan, who's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, need to go sit in Washington, D.C. and do nothing?
Right.
And vote for the Paris Climate Accords.
For the connections, for the network.
Another candidate that we love down here is Drew Montes Clark. I don't know if you know Drew. He's an African-American young man. He's got 4 beautiful kids.
Where's he at?
He is in I want to say the district that runs across Alligator Alley from Ave Maria out to Hialeah, is it?
Oh, Hialeah.
Hialeah.
Oh, okay.
Look him up. Check him out. Drew Montes Clark. I mean, these are the kind of candidates that they have no money, but they're grassroots. They're America first. They're going to go fight in Washington.
Right.
If they're willing to get out and build the name recognition, knocking on doors and stuff like
doing.
that.
Yeah,
it can happen because how many times have we seen recently to where it's not the money, it's the message.
It's the message.
Well, and now you have they're talking about that guy who called NORAD there.
Is he going to run?
They're talking about he's considering a run.
Good,
the dad who called President Joe Biden on Christmas Eve and ended the conversation with "Let's go, Brandon," which he gets an applause for that. Somebody they made it through.
And he got Biden to agree to it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the soundbite of the year.
Awesome.
Yeah, Jared Schmeck, an Oregon resident.
He was on War Room the other day.
Yeah, and Schmeck said in response to running for office, "I want to pray about it and see what God has for me." So good for him. If he decides to run, he certainly has a platform now.
what was he? What did they call him? Joe the plumber?
Oh yeah,
From
right.
The,
the
from
guy
Obama.
in New Jersey.
Yeah, he ran.
Oh,
didn't
Joe
he?
the plumber. He ran. Yeah, after that.
Yeah.
Thing. But the guy in New Jersey who beat the guy who won the.
Oh yeah, and he spent like $500.
He
Yeah,
defeated,
right. The truck driver.
He defeated a guy who's been in the Senate in New Jersey for forever. Imagine the cronyism that guy had.
Oh, they tried to fight it, and then they had to give it up. Yeah, there wasn't enough there.
So yeah, that's we have to transform the Republican Party.
Indeed,
we have to do it quickly. We have to get fighters in the Senate also.
Yes.
The Senate's a big problem. We're backing, and I encourage people to look at these types of candidates. A guy like Jackson Lawmeyer in Oklahoma, okay, who's going to go after Lankford, who's excuse my French, he's just not a very strong.
He's a bad person.
I'm not going to take this anymore.
Bad person.
Anyway, Lankford, people like Lankford, people like a guy. So Jackson Lawmeyer out in Oklahoma, up in Ohio, Josh Mandel, another great fighter. He's
Josh
great.
is running.
He's in first place.
Is he?
He doesn't have any money. I met with him for lunch the other day. There's a couple other people throwing their hat in the ring who are zillionaires. Josh said, I probably need 10 million. I've got 6. He goes, so what's happening is,
isn't that disgusting?
Still a lot of money.
Level of money.
Well, the problem is the American people. Josh has
I'll take 6.
Yeah, I know, and lose.
He's got great grassroots support because he goes to all the churches and he goes to. And Josh is a Jewish kid.
Yeah.
He goes to all the churches and he does all that. But it's that 4 to 5, 4 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. These guys are pouring money into ads. And, I think 1 million people vote in Ohio in the Republican primary. That's what he told me. He needs 300,000 votes to win, 330,000 votes. Because then, if it'll be, there's like 6 or 7 candidates. He needs about 300,000 votes to win, or at least to get into a runoff.
Wow.
That's an example.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is we have a Senate, we have a group of Republicans in the Senate in this country who are a disaster.
Yes. Yeah.
They are a much bigger problem than the House.
Yeah.
We have people like Marco Rubio, our own senator.
To comb over.
Okay. I'll do a Marco. I got to do it.
Let's take your sip of water.
I mean, you got Rubio.
You got to do it slower than that.
Even Rick Scott. I'm sorry. These guys are not fighters. No. I'll take them over the Democrats any day of the week.
Yeah, but Rubio, you knew he was gone as soon as he joined up with McCain and Lieberman. And
right, and what was that? He lasted 6 months?
I mean, the problem
and then he was in with them.
The problem is the alternative. We need alternatives to these types of guys. If we could get 10 fighters,
people have to challenge them in the primaries. That maybe that'll straighten them out.
Well, and this is exactly what I mean by local action is a national impact. And unfortunately, we still live in the greatest democracy money can buy, because it's very expensive to run campaigns, and you put yourself out there, and they're going to check the evil press is going to look at every, drunken night you had, or every joint you smoked when you were 22 or something stupid like that.
Yep.
So people get scared, and it's tough on their families.
What it's going to take, and I think we're starting to see that with a lot of candidates, is people like Trump, people who finally have the cojones to get out there and say what needs to be said,
call it out like it is,
regardless of the way that they're treated. Exactly. You have to have a whole boatload of I don't give an F,
absolutely,
to be able to run for office. And if you don't, you might as well not even try, because they will chew you up.
Be able to put your foot down, saying that.
So I'm encouraged by the people we're seeing run for office.
Good.
I think 2022 is going to be the year of the underdog in terms of the primaries. But people need to wake up and look at who the candidates are, and look at their track records.
Do your research.
People, if they're lifelong politicians, you're voting for the wrong person.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have a choice, because for example, here in Marco Rubio, nobody's running against him,
right,
in the primary. So whatever, you're going to go with Marco.
Yeah.
But in other places, you got like your home state, Ohio. Did you grow up in Ohio?
No, I lived in Ohio for a while, but Spokane.
I think there's like 16 people running for that Senate seat for Rob Portman's. It's crazy. I mean, in some of these places, it's like that,
Yeah.
So anyway, so those are the things that we're really involved with. We're very activist. This thing we executed in Virginia, we want to do in the 6 swing states. So we don't have unlimited amounts of money. We wish we did. That's another thing that's amazing to me is how many very wealthy people on the right complain like the Dickens about how the country's falling apart. In order for us to do these things, we need a lot of money. And it's like
cash.
And we're doing it on bake sale. We're doing it selling T-shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. So
speaking of which, folks, if you like this show,
yeah,
add it here. We still do not have any sponsors.
If
you'd like to sponsor the show, you can sponsor the show. But we have a virtual tip jar now on Venmo. It's going on the bottom here. It just passed by on Venmo, but check that out at Mike-Imbasciani-1. Maybe I'll give Lovejoy some of the proceeds.
Help us pay for the coffee that Mike won't supply us with anymore. Right. The Uyghurs haven't got together and
I got the
ground up
mugs,
beans for your coffee.
but this is water.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, so anyway, we have a plan to take that same franchise that we did in Virginia to the 6 swing states.
Good.
Why? Because never before no one ever even paid attention to local legislators before.
Right.
Before this election fraud. Then we realized, holy crap, we've got a bunch of legislators on the Republic. All these states, all these swing states had Republican legislators.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they punted when their elections were stolen right out from under their nose.
Because they go, well, you know, we got to be careful.
The Pennsylvania Supreme Court, I mean,
it's incredible.
Shameful.
It's incredible.
Shameful.
So
a lot of them become afraid too, I think.
So state legislators are important roles.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get the right people in those jobs because we cannot let them steal another presidential election.
No.
Yes.
And that's going to be
I agree.
What they're going to try to do.
How do you think 2022 is going to go? What do you think is going to be the plague that they spring upon us to?
There's two things. If they don't spring a plague upon us, they're going to get wiped out. And they're going to get wiped out, even though they're going to try to steal it. As Trump said in his message today, he had a really interesting message today. We're going to overwhelm them with numbers. Okay,
we have to.
We have to, and we will. I believe that
because we got to beat the fraud.
The only
I've
thing,
been saying that for years.
And I encourage everybody to overwhelm them with numbers.
Yeah,
everybody. I hear some nitwits on our side say, "Don't vote. Your vote doesn't count." I could strangle these people when they say this. I don't want to say who they are, but you know who they are.
Yeah.
Any nitwit telling you not to vote is out of their minds and anti-American.
Yes.
And actually working for the left.
Yes.
So don't listen to them.
Don't not listen to them.
But back to this.
You have to understand there's the fraud, so that should make you want to go out and vote more and talk to your friends about going out to vote.
Stay at the poll and watch what's going on.
Yeah.
Bring your camera.
How many times have we heard every election year, there's groups of of people on the left intimidating voters outside the voting booth before they go in.
Ballot harvesting.
Exactly. And it's sickening that they get away with all of it.
Yeah. Well, here, I would imagine Florida with the number of nursing homes, it's probably got to be a pretty easy ballot harvest.
Yeah, I'm sure
it is. So anyway, that's the positive side of me. The negative side.
That was positive.
Okay.
The negative side of me is afraid that a national security, a black swan event could be created to suspend the election.
They're trying to create one.
They're trying to create one.
They're going out of their way.
There's a pandemic,
Or a new variant comes and they say, we're going to close all the polling and everything is going to be
mail-in only.
Mail. Yeah. That happens, we're screwed.
Yes.
That happens. Yeah. People really need to think about what to do at that point. I mean, we need to take to the streets at that point. There's no way. They do something like that. God forbid they do, because I think that will lead, something like that will lead to violence, which is the last thing any of us want or need.
Yeah. And I don't think I've said this before, I don't think we'll see it in Florida. You might see it in Miami.
Yeah, you're going to see it in other states.
In the blue
it's the
states
swing states.
Yeah.
It's Atlanta. It's Detroit. The whole
Philly, Baltimore.
What they did was they concentrated on stealing the election in 6 counties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
across the country, Maricopa, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Wayne County. Those are the places. That's where they did it, and they just got just enough votes to get the Electoral College win, and that's what they'll do. So,
but I love pointing out that even Obama has to still maintain the lie.
Yes.
And tell everybody that old Joe got 13 million more votes than he did.
It's, I had a very good conversation with Putin. I looked him in the eye on the video camera. I think it was him. He was there. I was looking. Can I have my cupcake now?
Oh, my goodness. It's ice cream.
Ice cream. That's
It's always ice cream. Because he can eat it as fast as he wants. Right. He doesn't suffer brain freeze anymore.
Because there's nothing there.
Joe Biden.
Hello, rib shot. Come on.
I hit it. I hit it again.
All right.
It's unbelievable. It's
Yes.
amazing. So anyway,
yeah.
As you can tell, I'm pretty fired up about this stuff.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear. And
Yes.
and so remind us again, where can people check
go
out
to AmericaProject.com.
America Project?
AmericaProject.com. Check us out. Keep your eye on us. Donate if you will.
Excellent.
Your money
Get
is
involved.
Get involved.
Get involved.
Call us if you want to get involved. Give us a call.
Yes. Name of the episode.
Wherever you are in the country, we know somebody where you are that needs help.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Name of the episode: Get Loud Locally.
Get loud locally.
Get loud locally. There you go.
Or local. Local action has a national impact. This is a slogan that General Flynn's been touting now since he's been able to speak publicly.
How's he doing?
He's doing great. He lives in Florida now. He loves Florida.
Very
Now
good.
you're the much young. He's older than you.
He's Michael just turned 63. I'm 56.
Okay, so just few.
But there's two others in between me and him.
Did he beat the crap out of you when you were growing up?
I think he learned his torture techniques.
Little brother. I mean,
Yeah, right.
He learned his torture techniques. He went into being an intel officer and an interrogator, well planned,
well equipped,
well equipped. Because he tortured the
Now,
hell out of me.
I was not aware that you
Until
had
I got
another
bigger than
brother that's a 4-star.
Yeah, my brother Charlie is the commander of the United States Army of the Pacific, 90,000.
That is amazing, and
Yep.
God bless him
Yeah,
because
he was promoted.
being active duty at this point with that
Tough.
name,
tough.
just thinking it's got to be tough for him. God bless him.
But he's doing a great job, and he is
Excellent.
the first line of defense with the PACCOM commander against the Chinese.
Good
overtaking
to know we got
Taiwan.
people like him there.
Yeah, he's a great man. He's a great
Need a
guy.
leader in those situations.
He's a great guy. Yep.
Excellent. Well, folks, we've been sitting here with Joe Flynn and having a wonderful time. We're going to shift and talk about and get near our end of
I love
segments
it how
here.
you're keeping on time.
I like
Oh
it.
yeah, I'm keeping on time. I'm trying. But so, folks, we now have our Patriot of the Week and Traitor of the Week, and Joe, as we go through, if any come to mind, you're welcome to offer. So, Ken, I'll let you go first. Who is your Patriot of the Week?
It was actually a couple of people, but I'm gonna have to go with my homeboys back in Spokane, Washington. We, as you recall, we talked about there was a Catholic Charities organization that was going to not. They have operated a food pantry over the holidays. Was not going to pass out food to anybody who was unvaccinated.
Yeah,
and I was just, man, my hometown is done. It's lost. It's
Especially as a Catholic, it drives me nuts.
Exactly. But a bunch of patriots got together and they said, no, sir.
No.
And hundreds of them got together and fed everybody themselves.
Excellent.
Dan Bell, a guy there in Spokane who helped organize the food drive and feed the homeless, said he was surprised to see that the Catholic Church was turning away people like that. And so they just said, as a Christian, we don't allow this to happen. And so a bunch of people from Idaho, which is right there about 20 minutes away from Spokane, a bunch of people got together and fed the homeless over the holidays. So that was good to see.
Very nice. Applause for that. Yes,
Very good.
nice.
Love hearing that.
So mine is quite the warrior here, Richard Marchenko. Let's pull up the first picture there of Richard. He was the original first commanding officer of SEAL Team 6.
Yeah. His books were available in the back of comic books. You know, the ads. You know,
he's the original Frogman.
Yeah.
Original Frogman.
Yes, Ben, that's right. And we'll go to the next picture of Richard here. I mean, just unequivocal, awesome, badass dude right there. Yep. I mean, he wrote his book, Rogue Warrior. I highly recommend you check it out. Back when I was taking my Kempo karate lessons, my Sifu would talk about him all the time, and he would tell stories from that book, and so I still need to read
away?
it. He just passed away
a couple days ago.
A couple days ago at the age he died on Christmas Day. At the age
81.
of 81.
God bless him.
So
bless him.
a true warrior,
He was cool,
a true patriot, and
yeah.
he kicked some ass in Vietnam and as a SEAL. So he's my patriot.
And the culture that came up with him was great in the SEALs, and unfortunately they're trying to destroy it. About 30% of the SEALs are part of that crew that's probably not going to get vaccinated and get kicked out.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
This is a huge national security threat.
300 over 300 European athletes and American have dropped dead. Some on the field. We just had 4 last week drop dead on the field after getting the jab of heart attacks.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me it's not going to eventually hit the Rangers and the SEALs. And yeah, I stand with my SEAL buddies and all of my
definitely
all of my Navy and Army and Air Force, all of them who refuse to get it. There's a lot of people
not comply.
in America
stand
who
up
stand
for
with
yourselves.
you.
Exactly.
We're going to have an alternate military. We're going to need you for anyway.
Well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the conservatives out of the military.
Oh, they've been doing
definitely.
they've been doing that since Obama. That's what the CRT's for.
Right.
But how is our military readiness being affected when they're so worried about COVID vaccinations and CRT and treating transgenders right that China's just going to walk right up our rear ends?
Well, we'll see what the Russians do over in the Ukraine here.
I am not worried. I think that's a bunch of talk.
Yeah.
Do you have a patriot, sir?
I like the Let's Go Brandon guy from Oregon.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
I like him. I like the way he, took the heat that he was given. I like the fact that he stood right up and he he went right at it. And I like the fact that the left is going bananas over this.
Oh yeah.
I love, making these idiots in the media go crazy because they're just.
It doesn't take much anymore.
It doesn't.
No, I know
it really doesn't.
That says something about. I actually think they're up against a wall right now. I think we've got them on their heels at the moment.
I agree.
I would hope.
Yeah. Ken, your trader of the day.
Trader of the day. Well, that's going to have to be Twitter.
Twitter in general.
What's this guy's name again?
Oh, the new guy.
The new guy.
Oh.
But
what's he doing now?
Well, they just suspended permanently Dr. Robert Malone's Twitter account. He's the guy who
I should have mentioned he's the
mRNA injections, and he's been pointing out a lot of the problems with the current COVID vaccines. And I guess he was on Joe Rogan, so that should be a good interview.
Good.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So
see, he gets 3-hour interviews. We could talk for 4 here.
Yeah,
I know.
We'll just have to have you come back, Joe.
I'll come back.
All right. As soon as we get as popular as Joe Rogan,
yes,
then
we can have a 3-hour show. So for mine, I have Ben. Let's bring this picture up. I have the IRS.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Because just read this. Illegal
insane.
Activities. Income from illegal activities such as money from dealing illegal drugs must be included in your income on Schedule 1.
I thought this was a Babylon Bee, but then somebody said,
no,
this is true.
It is real.
It's
and under stolen property, if you steal property, you must report its fair market value in your income in the year you steal it, unless you return it to its rightful owner in the same year.
Then you don't have to report it.
I know I don't think the IRS is ever on somebody's good list, but I think that just, and some people were saying that's been around for a while. It's just been finally noticed that that's there. But
who put it there?
I don't know.
It's probably a
they
smart
had to,
move.
They had to
because you've
update
seen some
it
of the
because of all
idiots.
these smash and grabs. They won't arrest people and charge them, so they have to do that. They have to add this now instead. So if they're not going to get you for stealing it, they'll get you on tax fraud.
And somebody will be dumb enough to report some of that.
Oh,
stuff.
you know it.
It's amazing.
Sir, do you have a trader of the week?
I do. I think the cops that beat that lady senseless in the tunnel that just came out.
Yes.
On January 6th.
DC Capitol Police are a corrupt lot.
It's one thing, if she was trespassing, they should have pulled her aside, cuffed her, said, okay, you're trespassing. It's another thing to beat her senseless.
And how old was she?
I don't know.
She was like 50s.
5'5", 120 pounds.
Well, what about
the
other lady?
A real right-wing conspiracy
that
threat.
they trampled.
Yeah. So I any police officers doing that to, otherwise innocent people, I think are disgusting.
I agree.
And
sir.
I don't know why they're not being prosecuted alongside everybody else.
Like Lieutenant Mike Bird needs to be prosecuted for the murder of Ashley Babbitt.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Unarmed lady. again, there are other means to stop people from doing something illegal, especially if they're unarmed.
Yes, exactly.
So, anyway,
well,
so
folks,
once again, your website.
Yes.
Okay. Once again, yeah, for support of theamericaproject.com. We greatly appreciate it, and keep your eye on us.
Excellent. Joe Flynn, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
It's been a lot of fun. And folks, it's New Year's Eve weekend. Come out and enjoy yourself. And go follow Ken on Gab and listen to his show, Charlotte County Speaks. And you can find that on Spreaker. Find Ken on Instagram.
Emceeing Vasani.
Yes.
Comedy Zone for Dean Napolitano going to be the headliner this weekend.
Cool. Yes, and if you'd like to see my band, Mike Imbasciani and his Blues Rockers, here in the free state of Florida while you can, before Fauci shuts us all down again, you can come out tomorrow, Thursday, December 30th at the Lighthouse Grill at Stump Pass Marina in Englewood, 5:30 to 8:30, and then New Year's Eve itself at Leroy's Southern Kitchen and Bar in downtown Punta Gorda, ringing in the new year, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. It's always a fun time.
The new year with meatloaf.
Yes, meatloaf, and there are always some spectacular specials. Yeah, wow. They had like an elk special last year that looked fantastic. They fantastic food, great way to ring in the new year. Come out to Leroy's on New Year's Eve, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. And then we're already starting off 2022 very quickly with a bang, because I'm playing till 1 a.m. on New Year's Eve, and then I'm starting to play at 11:30 in the morning on January 1st.
Ooh,
and I have a double. I'm doing 11:30 to 3:30. I know. I'm doing 11:30 to 3:30 at Bert's Black Widow, Harley Davidson, and the Twisted Fork here in Port Charlotte from 11:30 to 3:30, and then Saturday night at Big Storm Brewing in Cape Coral from 7 to 10.
Wow.
You can go to MikeImbasciani.com for the full schedule with that.
Are you going to have the same lineup at every gig, or you got?
Yeah, I have a couple different fill-in drummers right now, but yeah, a lot of the same band.
They're all not drink either.
We're working hard.
That's hard to control, though.
Yes, and we're going to end the show. And the virtual tip bucket, it's right there. Venmo.
There it is.
Yes. At Mike-Imbasciani-1. Check it out. Give us a tip. Come on.
Help us help you, provide you with more fun.
With good entertainment. This is entertainment. Look at Ken. That is entertainment. Join us every Wednesday, 6 o'clock Eastern, live, newtakes.tv, New Takes TV Facebook page, and on Rumble. All of that good stuff. Here's to end the show. A little clip from last Thursday, great place, Fort Myers Beach, Oliver's Place, my band, Mike Imbasciani and his Blues Rockers, Bloodhound from the bunker. Good night, everybody. Happy New Year.
She headed out of town. I'm gonna pack my bags and get to Greyhound bus, but then it broke down. She took the car and the dog left me all alone. What can I do? I'm gonna follow her wherever she may run, if I have to. 'Cause baby, it's true. Oh, so true. Get out of this desert town, I'm gonna catch a plane. Last I heard, she was heading southbound to see her mom again. And then I'm going through New York and the big city to spend some time with friends. I need a bloodhound just to track her down, but she'll be mine again. 'Cause baby, it's true. So true. I'm in love with you. south, I see east and west, but she cannot be found. If I had to put it on one last guess, would it let me down? I got to wonder just what she was thinking, or maybe what was I? 'Cause looking for this lost girl's gonna keep me drinking until I die. 'Cause baby, it's true. Oh, so true. I'm in love with you. She was thinking, or maybe what was I? 'Cause looking for this lost girl's gonna keep me drinking until I die. 'Cause baby, it's true.